In today's episode, the Rover 800 series. Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel, where we look at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 1990s, and sometimes beyond those years as well. So if you're interested in this unusual, rather niche content, then please do consider subscribing. All completely free. Anyway, what we're doing today, yes, we're looking at the Rover 800. And I hear some of you say, oh, it's not that long ago since we looked at the Rover 800. Well, we've moved on a little bit. We're starting a new series for Rover cars in 1993. So this is going to be the 1993 model year for the Rover 800. And each week we'll go down the range. It's one of those brochures that starts with the flagship models and works down to the I'm going to say the lowly Mini, but really the iconic Mini, we probably should say. So yes, we're already doing two series at the moment. One for the Vauxhall Opel range, one for a Ford range. I thought, let's start a new series again. So the Rover full range brochure series. I'm going to throw it on the board before I start waffling too much. So here is today's brochure. Don't worry, I will zoom in a little bit in a moment, but I just wanted to show you it's quite a plain front cover actually. I always thought these were quite, I guess as we get brochures later and later, I think the covers get a little bit less interesting. But yeah, quite a plain cover overall, but this is the full range brochure for Rover. It says today's cars and the date down the bottom there, July to October 1993. So this is when, if I flip the brochure the other way, a British aerospace company. Nice. Looks like we got a brochure number on here just before we go into the brochure itself. Publication number 4486, and of course this is a UK brochure. So I've zoomed back to the front cover just to confirm it does say Rover. Today's car is the image, the Rover 600, but that'll be next week's episode. So let's jump ahead to today. So when I open the brochure, there's this little feature called Spotlight, and it's Rover News, where they kind of like showed you what's coming and what's new. It's all about the new Rover 600. Rover 600, like I said, it's going to be next week's show. It was always one of my favourite Rovers, actually. I thought they did a really good job with these. I actually quite like the Rover range around about this time. Unfortunately, when they moved on, it got later and later in the Rover life. I thought Rover started looking too far into the past. They started trying to invoke sort of like classic Rover shapes of old, where Rover was always a company of looking forward. I think that was a huge mistake, and that was kind of the end of Rover. But yes, here we're showcasing the new Rover 600. Like I said, I don't want to dwell on the Rover 600. Obviously, that's going to be next week's show when we'll talk about this more. Let's go to the Rover 800, today's episode. So here it is, the Rover 800 series. It advertises this as a born leader amongst luxury executive cars. So your flagship vehicle of the range, and I actually quite like the Rover 800. I don't know how you felt. There was something quite elegant. I don't just like the designs. Like I said, I like the Rover overall styling concept at this time. Yeah, I was a little bit unsure about the grille that they threw on the front. I guess that was the start of looking too far back for me. But overall, I did like the overall styling of these cars. Now, in this brochure, it's a little bit of an unusual setup, really. And I guess it's typical of 90s brochures. It doesn't go through each spec level page by page, which is always my favourite format. It kind of like lumps them in as a whole, but still interesting. Quite wordy. So we'll read all this text first on this page, go through some of these pictures, and I think there is another page as well for the Rover 800. Anyway, let's start with the text. So this one starts with customer needs, extensively researched, were the basis for the Rover 800's design and evolution. The aim, quite simply, was to provide completely new standards of customer satisfaction. The result is a luxury executive car of the highest order. To meet the wide range of needs of the executive drivers and private users, the Rover 800 series offers 4 modern power units. The petrol engines are all fitted with three-way controlled catalysts to minimise emissions and offer a choice of performance and efficiency. From the powerful and smooth 2.7 litre V6 to the advanced 2 litre T series in 136 PS and 180 PS turbocharged versions. For high mileage drivers seeking good economy without sacrificing refinement and performance, the 2.5 turbo diesel engine is of course a logical choice. It is also engineered with the environment in mind, with exhaust gas recirculation, reducing emissions and comfortably meeting all current EEC emission control legislations. To offer customers the maximum choice and flexibility, all Rover 800 derivatives are available with the elegant saloon or sporting fastback body styles, from the highly equipped Rover 820 SI to the turbocharged Vitesse and the exclusive Sterling. The Rover 800 series perfectly complements the taste and aspirations of discerning drivers. The reward of the privileged few, Rover's flagship 800 Coupe epitomises the craftsmanship and engineering excellence of the marque. This is an exclusive British luxury car of exceptional quality and refinement. The smooth power of the V6 engine devours the miles, giving travel in true Grand Tourer style. From the unique leather-trimmed interior to the flawless coachwork, every detail is designed to be nothing less than perfection. And then it gives us some interesting little images to have a look at. So, of course, this interior picture is the top of the range, so that's your Sterling interior, which was always a very, very high spec vehicle. Do love the seats actually, the design actually of the seats do look very nice in there. We've also got in it a little bit of an image of the Rover Vitesse's rear spoiler, and unfortunately this is labelled, otherwise I wouldn't be able to identify it this clearly, but this is the Rover 825 SLD apparently. Then we've got a few little quotes here before we look at the main image. It says, "The first notable asset of the Coupe is good looks, long and imposing. The car looks as though it means business. The life and times." July 92, talking about the Rover 800 Coupe, which looks like the model we're going to look at in a moment. But also we get a second quote, this time from What Car in November 92, again for the Rover 800 Coupe. "Smooth, sleek coupe shape contains a cabin full of sheer air-conditioned luxury, lavish with leather and walnut." So there it is, the Rover 800 Coupe. Very interesting car. I don't remember seeing many of them, if any, to be honest with you. It certainly would have been a pricey option. Basically a two-door Rover 800 really, fortunately falling heavily on the crease. But I do find them a very interesting design, I must admit. I like the Rover 800 at this time. This sort of areas kind of remind me a little bit of BMW actually. But yeah, an unusual model actually, a two-door coupe, isn't it? But overall I liked it. I think this was how Rover should have been going at this time. Like I say, later on, I don't know. Maybe it's just me actually and I'm just wittering on, but I found that they started looking too far in the past after this time. But anyway, let's turn the page. And then we turn the page and we've got more images of the other Rover 800s, the saloons and the fastbacks. But let's start with the text. It starts by telling us safety has always been a Rover hallmark, and the Rover 800 series continues the tradition. The latest safety development is availability of a driver's airbag, optional at extra cost on all models except the 800 Coupe, where it is standard. The airbag, located inside the steering wheel centre pad, is designed to help protect a properly seated, belted driver in a frontal collision. Sensors detecting an impact cause the airbag to inflate and then almost immediately deflate, helping to protect the face and upper torso. Of course, nothing particularly special about an airbag today. To help fight the ever-increasing rise in car crime, an advanced anti-theft alarm with engine immobiliser is a standard fitment on all Rover 800 models. Other features include security coded in-car entertainment systems, anti-pick lock mechanisms, and locking wheel nuts where alloy wheels are fitted. Inside the spacious passenger cabin of the Rover 800 series, discover an environment rich with Rover's unique luxury ambience, elegant wood veneer complementing the fine quality. Upholstery. Driving is effortless with skillfully designed controls and instrumentation. The longest journey passes quickly and quietly, whilst a wealth of luxuries, including a fine in-car entertainment system, make driving still more enjoyable. The Rover 800 series, time-bred craftsmanship and modern technology in perfect harmony. So image-wise, this is going to be your range-topping luxury version, the Rover Sterling. It really is a mishmash of pictures really, because they don't really make much logical sense. They're just quite random, unfortunately, and that's usually why I do actually prefer spec levels on different pages. But then we've got this very interesting picture here of the Vitesse's interior. So it looks sporty, an unusual sort of interior actually for the class and size of car, but I do like it. And then rather randomly we then get an engine image, and this is going to be for your diesel. And then we do get a more recognisable image of the Vitesse there. We can see that's the Vitesse with the sort of like wing on the back there. Interesting looking car actually, the Vitesse, I always found. It's an interesting sort of like idea of these large cars and a sporty car, a bit of a GT car, but I quite like them. Moving on, we get a look at this one and kind of like the first proper look at the four-door saloon version, which I think it did suit being a saloon if I'm fair. Unusual image with this sort of like X-ray style to kind of like give you an idea of the room in the luggage. This is a more ordinary model. This is the SLI, so you was much more likely to see this a much more regular model. And then the final image, we do randomly jump all the way back up the range back to the Sterling. But it's nice to see because it's an interesting interior, isn't it? Of course it's a Rover, so we get that sort of wood interior. This is an unusual area, isn't it, with all this sort of switch gear, and then we've got the clock, which looks nice, although it's probably not the most ergonomic place to put a clock. But yeah, an interesting interior and overall an interesting looking car. That takes us to the spec levels, and really unfortunately this particular brochure is not great to look at the spec levels on camera, but I just wanted to at least show you the full range of cars. So at this time we got an 820i, an 820 SI, an 820 SLI, and of course that lovely Vitesse. Then we get 3 diesel versions, and then finally the larger engine versions, the 827 SI, 827 SLI, the Sterling, and then just on the crease there it's talking about that range topping, very unusual version, the Coupe. So those larger engine versions were using a 6-cylinder 24-valve V6 OHC electronic multi-point fuel injection, 3-way control catalyst, 2675cc and 169 PS. So yeah, the full specs and graphs etc, really hard to actually show you on camera because how it's set out and how small the writing is, but I'm going to at least try and show you some of this because these are the performance figures. So I'll just try and show you some of these figures, starting with the base model and then looking a little bit higher up. But the base model, the 820i manual, 0 to 60 in 9.6 seconds, top speed 125, and of course a little bit slower for the automatic, 0 to 60 in 11.7 seconds, top speed of 121. The manual Vitesse model is doing 0 to 60 in 8 seconds, top speed 137. Not too bad really considering the size of the car actually. Moving all the way up to that unusual Coupe in manual form, 0 to 60 in 8.2 seconds, top speed of 133, which is the same as the Sterling, same as the 827 SLI, same as the 827 SI, all sharing that same engine. And then finally, a bit of an idea of some of the colours you can get in. Sadly no colour chart on this, but and obviously depending on which model you picked would depend if you could get these. But solid colours available for the 820 series: white, diamond, flame red, midnight blue and black as solid colours, and then clear coat metallics of Quicksilver, Storm Grey, Nordic Blue, British Racing Green, White Gold, Pearlescent Caribbean Blue, and Pearlescent Night Fire Red, which was quite a striking colour. So there we go, this just about wraps today's episode up for the Rover 820. Any memories of the 820, of course, jot them in the comments. Always love reading yours. Next week, the Rover 600. Probably be a longer episode as we've got all that Rover news for the new Rover 600 to go through. But thank you so much for watching today. We'll end as we always do by saying, please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. You'll never be charged to be a subscriber, so don't worry about clicking that button now. And also, while you're there, click the little bell button and the like button. They're all very much appreciated to help support our very, very tiny little niche subject channel. Thank you so very, very much. I'll also add a box here. If you're just watching this the first time, there won't be a great deal in this box, but eventually we'll have the whole series down here, and then usually YouTube puts a random brochure episode here. I believe we've got over 600 episodes now of Quarterlight, so there's lots and lots of great brochure content to look through. But thank you so much for watching today. Please do take care. We'll see you very, very soon. All the best and goodbye.